Okay guys, here's part 2 of your Air Skimmer project. And so in this part, we are going to be cutting out our blueprint and we're going to be assembling our Air Skimmer. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we recognize where all of our fold lines are, right? Those are those dashed lines, okay? And we're going to make sure that we're not cutting on those fold lines. Okay, the other thing that we want to make sure is that when we cut this out, we use nice clean cuts. Okay, and that you're not going on the inside of your measurement lines. So we'll start off with the main body first. And we're just going to cut right along our main body lines. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut out all of our pieces first, and then we'll do our folds. Okay. And so next we're going to cut out this fin. We'll cut out our other fin. So I'm just being careful to make sure that I'm cutting on the lines, and then we'll cut out our foil, right, our interior foil piece, our air scoop. Okay, so now we have all our pieces cut out. Now we're going to start with our folds. Okay, so for this first fold, which is our main body, you can see that our folds are going to go all the way down. Okay, and what you want to do is you kind of want to, you can either use a ruler and put it right on that fold line and then fold it up. Okay, and then when you get that, when you find that fold line, that's where you're going to use the ruler. Or if you want to do it, you can do it blind. You can do the same thing. So you're going to fold it a little bit first, right? You're just going to make sure that you have that fold correct. Double check it before you do your final fold. And then when you get that final fold, you're going to make sure that you make a nice crisp fold all the way down. Okay, and now you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, again, I like to use the ruler. If you want to do it blind, you can, but I like to use that ruler because it gives that nice hard line, and that way I can see exactly where that fold is going to go. Okay, so you see how I have my ruler, and then you can see where that line is going to come, right? You can make sure that you're nice and straight as well. Okay, once I get that done, I'm just going to come back here. Check, make sure that all my folds are nice and straight. There it is. Okay, so there's that body. Okay, and the reason why I have this dashed line right here is because I'm going to be cutting along this line right here. That's where my fins are going to go. Okay, the next one I'm going to fold is my air scoop. This one is really good to use the ruler on because it's a crooked line. And so if you put your ruler there where that line is, you can kind of just fold, especially on that 1/8 inch area. That's really hard to get a nice good fold on there. You see how that just folds across that ruler. So if you don't have that ruler there with that 1/8 inch one, you're gonna end up having a bad fold. Okay, and you can do the same thing on the other side. Just put your ruler on the inside of that ruler, on the inside of that line. Make sure that your line is nice and straight, and then just fold over. There we go. Okay, so there's our air scoop. Okay, and now we're going to do some assembly, right? And so the first thing we're going to start off with is the air scoop. And so the air scoop, that 1/8 of that thin edge is going to go to the front, and the thicker edge is going to go to the back. Okay, and so that's how it's placed in there. So that's the front of your car, or the front of your air skimmer. You're going to place that in there, and now you have two choices. You can either glue it or you can tape it, okay? And so for me, I'm going to use tape. And so I'm just using clear tape, okay? And you can do it any way you want, okay? You just want to make sure when you tape this in, you don't cover up any of that hole that's in the front where the air scoop is getting the airflow, okay? And so I'm just going to go like that. And so I would actually put 4 pieces on there. I'm just going to do the front 2. Okay. I'm just going to do the front 2 for time. So I'm going to put that in there, fold it over. Okay, and now you can see that air scoop area. That's where the air is going to come up, and it's going to push your air skimmer up, right? Okay, and so now we're going to do the fins. So again, on this back part now, where it was folded, I'm just going to cut down that line to that dashed area. Make sure do not go past that dashed area. Okay, and again, you want to be right on that line. Okay. And so now your air fins, so your fins are just going to go into the air skimmer just like this, making sure that it goes all the way down to the bottom. So when you place this in, they should be, you should make sure they're not going past the bottom of your car. Okay. And when you do this to tape it in, you can do initial taping here, right? You can put tape all the way around, and then you're also going to tape it so that that way it's flat, okay, on the inside. So if we do this again, I'm going to put my piece of tape, making sure that it's in that good distance. You see how it's nice and straight. I'm going to start it with the top, and then I'm just going to push it in until nice and flat. So now you can see that it's nice and straight. Okay. And so I would put another piece of tape here, I'll put another piece of tape here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And so I'm going to put my fin in. Once I do that, I'm going to make sure that it's lined up on the bottom. I'll put my tape. And I'm going to tape that on the inside. And guys, that's how you do it, okay? Now the other things that you can do, the other thing that you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to put that paper clip for the weight distribution. So my suggestion is you put one paper clip here on the front, probably one here in the center, and then you are gonna have to put that paper clip on the bottom so that way you can shoot your air skimmer, okay? So the way that you would do that, and so here's an example of a paper clip, right? And so I might put this paper clip bent like this just for the weight distribution. I'll have another paper clip that won't be bent. I'll put it here in the center. And this last paper clip, the third paper clip, is used for and so you're going to have one that's bent like this, and you can bend your other paper clip however direction you need to, and you're just going to paste that down or tape it down. And so you see how this goes right here. Make sure that your paper clip that's going to be grabbing onto the elastic band is nice and centered, and the rest is just taped. It's just taped on the inside. And you can do this any way you want, really. As long as that's centered, that's going to be the important piece. Okay. And you can just start taping onto there. This helps with the weight distribution too. And this is why you want to really have that air scoop taped on all 4 sides. Some directions have you putting this paper clip behind the air scoop. The problem with that is that you get less momentum forward. Now, if you want to try that and you can test out the differences, that's part of that engineer design process, right? So you can try that, and that's it, right? So now you have your propulsion, right? That's going to be connected to your rubber band, and everything else is all assembled.